see if this thing works. Ooh. Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Michal Migurski. I'm the Director of Technology at a small design and tech studio here in San Francisco called Stamen Design. We've been in the Mission District for about 8 or 9 years, really loving it, and I'm here to talk about a project that we've been working on for the past 3 years called Crimespotting. Oh, good. That's louder. I'm here to talk about Crimespotting, which is a project we've been working on for the past 3 years or so. It's something that started in Oakland, California, which is where I happen to live. And really what we were responding to when developing this application was the state of affairs in crime mapping and crime communication online among cities here. This is Oakland's Police Department Crime Watch website. I'm pretty sure it still looks like this today. And essentially, you know, it's kind of this example of something that we just call form hell in the office. You know, in order to find information about crimes in the city of Oakland from the Oakland Police Department, you have to give them a lot of information. You can't just kind of go and dive in and browse. You have to say, like, I'm looking near this school, I want a quarter-mile radius, show me just vandalism and not prostitution. It's kind of a hassle in order to get to the meat of the thing. And then once you're at the meat of the thing, it's fairly slow. You know, it'll only show you exactly what you asked for and not really give you the capacity to sort of move around the map and move around the city and get some sense of what else is out there, kind of a lay of the land. So the project that we released, pressing buttons, there we go. It's called Oakland Crimespotting, but it's also called San Francisco Crimespotting, thanks to Jay Nath and the city of San Francisco and the Data SF initiative over the course of the past 2 years. We've expanded to cities on both sides of the bay. Those are the two addresses there on the bottom. They're separate websites for now. We've talked about the idea of potentially merging the two. And what you get on the website is, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to point this thing. There we go. You know, what you get on the website is essentially a flash map that shows you locations of crimes. It's pretty basic stuff. You've all seen this before. You know, you've all seen Google Maps where you can look at points and look at dots and kind of pan and zoom the thing around. But already, just with this kind of visualization, what you're seeing is the capacity to actually do exploratory work with crime data, with points, with, you know, different kind of events and incidents and so forth, where previously on the city-provided websites, what you might have had to do would be to, you know, do this kind of form hell search in order to get to even a state like this. You know, of course, you can drill down. Why am I this guy? There you go. You can drill down to, you know, look at individual crimes, kind of get information about each and every one of those things. Some of the stuff that I'm not showing here is the fact that every single crime in the system has a Permalink page. So if you're somebody in a neighborhood and you want to talk to people about, you know, let's say a robbery that happened in your neighborhood or, you know, a string of burglaries, you now have the capacity to be able to copy and paste links and send those around to people in your community groups. That's a fairly new thing. Another thing that we introduced was a feature that we're calling the Pie of Time, which sits in the lower left-hand corner of the website. This is in response to needs that community members express to us about kind of, you know, how they experience the city and how they move through the city and how they deal with it over the course of the day. You know, some people might be interested in crime in their neighborhood generally because they live there, but other people might be interested just purely in the commute hours. So this is sort of a way to look at just specific parts of time in the city and see, you know, crime for, you know, the commute, the nightlife, the early morning, the late night, kind of based on when you're actually moving through there. Ultimately, the benefit of this thing that we've seen is that we get comments like this from our users in Oakland and in San Francisco. The core or the nut of what we're doing that we find so interesting about this site is that people, you know, essentially view this as a way to kind of level the playing field with their local beat officers. This is a comment from Simon Waddington, who lives in the Jack London Square area in Oakland, and he's really interested in this idea that he goes to these neighborhood crime prevention council meetings, and he gets to come to the police and say, okay, I know about this vandalism, I know about this vehicle theft, I know about this burglary, and they can immediately begin talking about the actual incidents rather than the situation before, which is that the local residents would hear about these crimes from the officer at that meeting, have to kind of digest and understand, and only then would they be able to have the, you know, informed conversation about what is going on in their neighborhoods. With tools like Crimespotting, with data initiatives like datasf.org, with help from cities like Oakland, it's possible for these people to know what they're going to talk about before they have to talk about it, so they can actually go to these officers and have that informed conversation. Where is Crimespotting going to go next? We're really interested in the idea that it might give you something like a pattern or a view of your neighborhood that is above the incident level, to look at, you know, multiple months, multiple years of data and be able to see kind of how patterns move around through cities. This is a kind of zoomed out shot of Oakland that we produced for a Wired magazine in the UK spread, which shows you how crime patterns sit around Oakland. It's really kind of reminiscent of other projects that we've seen in this regard. If you've all seen Doug McCune's work with the kind of crime topology of San Francisco, you're familiar with this idea that if you see clusters and bumps and movements and so forth, you can kind of get a long-term or a long view of what this stuff does. Also, we're really interested in the kind of long view of the incidents themselves. As you can see from this map, if you zoom out of Oakland, for example, it appears as though Oakland is a spectacularly violent place, surrounded by essentially nothing in Berkeley and Emeryville and so forth. So one of the things that we're really interested in is this idea of expanding this data out to, BART, for example. BART has their own police department that deals with all the BART stations. Of course, Emeryville, Berkeley, kind of every single little town that borders around there and up and down the peninsula. It would be amazing to be able to keep zooming this thing out and see what the density of these different incidents are. Right now, you have to do it on a per department basis, and it means that you really get this kind of skewed view of what's happening. I'm pushing buttons. Thanks very much.